Hi, and welcome to another installment of our short series. Today we're going to be talking about Chinese architecture.
Josh, have you ever been to the Forbidden City?
No, but I know it's in Beijing, and during the Qing and Ming dynasty, 24 different emperors lived there.
Exactly.
But I also heard there is meaning to the architecture there and where things are placed. So can you tell me about the left and right of the Forbidden City?
In the rites of Zhou, records of construction, left and right represent the ritual ancestral stream on the left, and the altar of gods of grain and land on the left. But as for the Forbidden City, the imperial ancestral temple on the left, and the altar of earth and the altar of earth and harvest on the right. The altar of earth and harvest is also known as the altar of land and grain. They are in the south of Forbidden City, along the central axis of Beijing.
Very good. And what about the north, the front and rear?
In the rise of Zhou Li, the front and the rear is a ritual of the official court in the front, and the residential court in the rear. That means 前朝后秦. And when it comes to the Forbidden City, there are two courts, the outer court and the inner court. The outer court, that means 外朝内廷, yeah, 外朝内廷. So the outer court is the official court in the front, and the inner court is the residential court in the rear. Yeah, that's right.
And finally, what about the center?
The center refers to the central axis of the city of Beijing, and where the central axis of the Forbidden City is one part of it, and it is listed in UNESCO World Heritage. The concept of central axis suggests the idea of the union of human being and nature. 天人合一 in the Book of Changes, 易经. The three real palaces of inner court and the three halls of outer court form the central axis of the Forbidden City. The main buildings are in parallel with it to achieve the symmetry of the Forbidden City.
Very good, very good. I did not know this information.
So I told you. So, Josh, in British culture, what does the architecture suggest in hierarchy?
I don't think it's as important as it is in the East, in China particularly. But I think the architecture suggests more about social class. Take example for Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
It belongs to the richest person in the country, the Queen. It's a huge building. It's very grandiose. But then you can go and look at my mother's house. I wouldn't say she's poor, but she's not middle class or upper class, definitely. She has bought her own house, but it only has 3 bedrooms. Now, that's a nice size house, to be honest, but if you travel a bit further out of the city from where my mother lives, you can find much nicer houses, but they're a lot more expensive. They're usually bigger and have better everything, really. But then there is poor areas. We call these council estates. This is where people who cannot find work or cannot afford to pay for their own house. This is where the government and the council, they place them in these houses and say, you can live here. Now these houses are usually rather small, yes. It's hard to raise a family in these houses. Usually the amenities there are not too good either. Compared to other places in England, it's not too good. But there's a type of house called a terrace house. Now these were built after the Second World War. just because we needed lots of houses in a short amount of time. This is where you've seen there'll be one house and a long row of houses along one long road.
Just like a school.
No, just one long line of houses with another long line of houses across it.
I get it.
And these are generally thought of as the worst houses to live in Britain. They're, back when they were built, maybe the whole street would share one toilet. I know things like that don't happen in most of the world now, but back then that was very common. So to live in these houses you must be down on your luck, to be honest. So I wouldn't say it's architecture like in China suggests hierarchy like it does in England. More of social standing, how much money you have. So I think that's pretty much covers that.
Yeah, maybe.